Welcome to BizTech's Asia's hottest startup show, the show where we feature hot startups operating across the Asia-Pacific region, talking about their businesses and their journey towards becoming the next unicorns out of the region. Now, today we speak to Shamin Ali, the founder and CEO of Instoried. Instoried is a tech-based content startup that uses AI and gives content creators the ability to make their copy empathetic, crisp, and more impactful in a collaborative, real-time environment. Now, welcome to the show, Shamin.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here.
Now, Shamin, can you start by giving us an overview of Instoried and how you started the business?
Right. Thank you. Great question. This is amazing for any founder to speak about their journey. So we started back in 2019, a little over 3 years ago now. We are pretty much a pre-COVID company. I think the best thing that happened to us was that, we were a pre-COVID company. So as you see, most of the marketing people out there, most of them are sadly flying blind because they don't know what kind of content should they be essentially creating in order to connect better with their audiences, because it's easy to create content, but what is the difficult part is to ensure that you're able to connect better with your audiences. How do you exude the right set of emotions, the right empathy quotient in order to connect with them, be it on your Facebook ads, Google ads, or your blog content, newsletters, etc. So I come from that background pretty much. And, I have had a huge experience in understanding what kind of challenges do content marketers globally face. So as a result of that, after I exited from my first startup, I decided to, start on this journey where I can help content marketers and brands globally create content, generate content, which would connect better, and therefore they would be able to increase their ROI on their marketing spends. Because be it a pandemic or a recession, any company that is selling a product, they have to create content. So that's how this began. And I'm happy to share that, 3 years down, a little over 3 years now, we are doing pretty well. And we have offices both in the US and in Bangalore.
Okay, tell us about how you help companies really specifically. So you say data-driven, it's scalable, repeatable using AI. So how do you actually do this?
Right. So that's an amazing question. So, what we've done, as you know, that the word AI has been very heavily abused globally. I'm happy to share that we are not abusing it. We are actually using it, So as you know, that AI is no magic. It is essentially about the data that you feed into the algorithm, right? The machine learning part, all the training that goes into it. The machine learns from it, and that is what it reproduces as its output. So we've used about 30 million plus data points, which we've scraped from the internet globally. And then we've tagged these data points to the right set of tones and emotions in order to help people to, get a variety of recommendations from across industries, from across markets globally. This would essentially add a lot more perspective to the whole algorithm, to the tech that we've built in-house. We haven't used any of those open source APIs. We've built the tech completely in-house, state of the art, completely from the scratch. And that is what we love to say, that this is our biggest barrier to entry, that the tech is completely built in-house. So now how it works is pretty simple. It is absolutely DIY, very plug and play. As soon as you log on to the tool, on instoried.com, app.instoried.com, you would be taken to this editor where you can start creating content. You can also import content from, any Word or PDF file that you might have had. And then the tool is dynamic. When I say dynamic, I mean that it's real time. In real time, it will give you all of the feedback, the recommendations, the analysis. So it'll show you what are the tones and the emotions that are being generated from your content in real time. Now, being a marketer, you know that, some of the tones and emotions are really important for you. So you get to play around with it. You get all the recommendations, word-based recommendations in real time. There's a plagiarism checker. You can check your grammar, your spelling, etc. You can also collaborate with anyone on the same platform. You can get people to, test your content, all of that under one roof. And that's not all. You also get smart AI generated recommendations, as many that you want, and play around with the tool. It's very end to end, talking about content generation to content evaluation to content publishing, everything under one roof. So the whole idea was to, get everything under one platform to help you save time, to help you make your content generation exercise much more productive using AI, of course.
Okay, Shamin, who built this system for you, and how did you validate the product market fit?
Right. So we're a team of 40 people now. Initially when we started, it was just me and my tech co-founder who were building it. And I'm happy to share that I would have tagged about some 100,000 data points. My co-founder tagged some 500,000 data points. And then eventually, we hired a team, of course, to, tag the 30 million plus data points that we've used. So yes, it's been a very tough journey so far. I will agree to that. But we do have a team of 40 people now, and we've raised some funds, as a result of which all of the tool, all of the technology has been built in-house. We haven't outsourced any of it, because me and my tech co-founder were very, very confident of the fact that, if you are building something which is deep tech, hardcore deep tech, it has to be built in-house, because, then you have the IP, your data is completely proprietary.
That's your barrier to entry.
Yes, so our data is completely proprietary. We can go ahead and make as many changes that we want, depending on what the market needs. I don't need to be relying on an IBM Watson or, or an Amazon or, a Google Cloud platform to essentially wait for them to implement the changes, which essentially helps us in, having the leverage, the advantage of going out there and democratizing and creating any changes that we need to, depending on what our customers need.
So Shamin, then essentially from a target audience perspective, this, I would think, would be used for everyone from a single person writing enthusiast to a company like BizTech putting out its social media, to then large enterprises, global enterprises putting out written content across different markets.
I'm so glad you understand this so well. It's so easy to talk to people who know what we are doing. I'm so glad. Yes, you're absolutely right. Anyone and everyone who is into, content generation, content evaluation, be it an influencer, a media personnel, a blogger, or, an author for that matter, or anyone who is basically a content marketer working for a brand, right? Depends, whichever platform that they were initially using, now they can all switch to just one platform because it has everything under one umbrella.
Okay, Shamin, content marketing, while in the past it's been in the periphery, increasingly it's becoming a key focus for marketeers because of the impact that it has on purchasing in terms of influencing and so forth. Could you give us a primer on some of the best practices that companies need to be cognizant of in content marketing?
Right. So, first and foremost, the thing is that irrespective of whether it is, a pandemic or a recession, I think, the greatest opportunity in this adversity was that when brick and mortar stores shut down, people out there understood that in order to sell better, you need to be engaging online with your audiences. And how do you engage online? By creating better content, by creating engaging content, because people are going to read, people are going to, take a look at your ads and then, or, your email ads, and you don't just want to lose out on those customers. So the biggest important point about generating content, through content marketing is that, number one, it is not about the kind of content that you're generating but it is about ensuring that your content is empathetic enough, in times like these, whether it is a war-like situation or, a pandemic or a recession. Irrespective of that, people need to generate content in order to get their audiences to, see what they are selling. So you gotta be empathetic. The world runs on empathy. We are human beings. We are emotional people. Do not just throw data at your customer. They will not understand your numbers. Sell them a story. And that story, the number one point in your story is empathy. And that is exactly where we come in. We are selling empathy, So if you don't understand empathy, come to Instoried. We'll teach you. And, lastly, do not just think that your audiences are blind. No, they understand, what you're selling. They understand your content. So in order to sell better, do not just blindly target audiences. Get the right person, because I've seen a lot of content marketers randomly generating content thinking that, each and every customer segment of theirs will understand it. Please, no, they are not stupid. They know what you're doing, Customer is king. Understand that and retarget your content in the right way. Not just generation, creation, evaluation, but retargeting is absolutely important. These are some of the points that, content marketers out there should know.
Okay, what are the don'ts then? What are the strict no-nos that they shouldn't be doing, mistakes they should be avoiding?
Right. There are so many, but the ones that come, that really come on the top of my mind. Well, grammar is important, but grammar is not everything, because when you talk about things like colloquialism, right? People are not just worried about having a full-fledged sentence. It is about having those very engaging titles, engaging captions. Instagram marketing is the future, needless to say that. Everyone's been using Instagram, be it a direct-to-consumer brand, an FMCG, or, anyone in the healthcare space. How do you create those smart captions? Create content that really engages with your audience. Have those smart short form content. Do not just talk about, long form blogs wherein you're talking about, let's say, 1,000 words plus content. Create content which is engaging, which is short, crisp. Short and sweet, I think, is the future. I've seen a lot of people spend a lot of time in generating large form content. I think they need to switch to short form because that is what really engages. And I'm happy to share that as a result of this, now we have this amazing headline generator, which gives you n number of headlines, as many that you want to. Generate the headline. It will tell you whether your content, whether your headline is crisp, short and sweet, does it have those power words in it, active, passive tone, whatever, and it will keep generating unlimited number of headlines till you think you've got the one. So yeah, play around with it and focus more on short form content.
Okay, very interesting and something for me to think about as well in terms of our business. But give us a sense then, Charmaine, of where you're at in terms of the size of your business right now. What's your revenue numbers like? What are your customer numbers like?
Right. Sure, absolutely. So we have about 70 plus SMEs and enterprises included that we are working with from a B2B point of view. And in B2C, we recently went B2C and we have almost 1 million plus users now that are using our B2C side of things. We are, from a revenue point of view, we've just crossed about $2 million in ARR. We are a young startup. And we are looking at getting to $6 million in ARR in the next 6 months.
Okay, fantastic. That's good progress made. And that's why you closed recently your Series A funding of around 10 million, I believe. Could you give us a sense of your fundraising journey from pre-seed all the way to Series A?
Right. As much as I love talking about this, the point is that all of this that happened was during COVID, So when a lot of companies were shutting down during COVID, we are one of those companies that was thriving. And again, like I said, we were able to identify a huge opportunity in this adversity, as a result of which we were able to raise the funding that we did. I think, again, also because we are the ones that sell empathy, we are, selling stories, hence the name Instoried, Inside Stories. I think that was the biggest USP. That is our biggest USP, that marketing, no matter what point in the world, what is going on, be it a war-like situation or be it a pandemic or a recession, people need to sell their products, people need to market, and that is exactly our biggest USP. How do you market better? Come on Instoried, we'll teach you how to sell joy, how to sell empathy.
Now, Shaman, the fundraising environment has gone from a sunny fundraising environment to one that is characterized by winter, especially as you kept saying, because it's a war environment. NASDAQ and tech company valuations have tumbled dramatically. So we are, as startups, are heading into really a funding winter. Mm-hmm. What are some of the interesting findings that you have made as you've gone through your funding journey that you can share with entrepreneurs to help them with their fundraising?
Right. So there have been a number of lessons, but first and foremost, this is what I've always said. Yes, numbers are important, but do not randomly sell numbers. Sell a story, sell your vision. That is what is going to connect with your investors, with your stakeholders, with your customers. As Steve Jobs put it, do not just sell do not just randomly sell the product, sell the idea, and that will automatically sell for itself. So your vision, your story is absolutely important, no matter what stage of fundraising you are at, be it at a pre-seed, be it a seed, or Series A or whatever post that. Always sell the story, sell the vision. That is what people connect with, audiences, investors connect with the most. That's been my number one lesson. Number two, one thing that I have seen a lot of people complain about investors. Guys, come on, it is their hard-earned money. They will come back at you. You have to understand that, because tomorrow, if you as an entrepreneur were to start investing, you would obviously be very cognizant of, the startup that you're putting your money in, because it's your hard-earned money. So do not just randomly throw tantrums at people for they have to ask you a ton of questions, or the number of follow-ups that they do post-investing. It is part of this journey. It is part of this life cycle that, you decided to commence upon, right? So you have to be ready for this. But having said that, it doesn't mean that, you go all crazy talking to investors. I mean, existing set of investors. You need to know, you need to be able to give them enough meat, enough content, enough story for them to be content about that. Yes, they have invested in the right founder, in the right team, so that is absolutely important. You need to know how to shape your quarterly updates, how to shape up that story so that they are content that yes, this is the right founder. So there are a few of those things that are really important, because a lot of my entrepreneur friends come back to me and ask me that, okay, listen, you have some 7+ investors, on your cap table. How do you manage 7 of them? So I'm like, yes, I know how to keep them content with matter that will make them happy. So I do that, and lastly, always keep your team very, very happy. I mean, even, all of the people out there, be it rulers, be it kingdoms, the ones that really did well were the ones that kept their team really, really happy. So ensure that you have, first of all, you should have the best team in place. And secondly, productivity of your team. Do not just randomly load them with work. It is not that world anymore wherein you can just get things done. They will leave you and go join some other company. You don't want to do that. So, keep them happy, engage them. Of course, make it very productive. Like for example, at Instoried, we give the weekend off. We're like, guys, go out there, refresh yourselves, rejuvenate, and then come back on Monday and work. And most importantly, we are 100% remote. So I think it's high time I started claiming my carbon credits because of the, amount of...
So, Shaman, you don't work from an office.
We don't have an office. We have work from home. Absolutely work from home. No matter which part of the world you are in, I don't care. Meet the deadlines and I'm more than happy. So that's it. Yes. 100% remote, So make your team's life easier and yours will eventually be easier as a founder. So, these are some of the learnings that I've had during COVID, especially.
Shaman, it's been a fascinating conversation, but before you leave us, any final words of wisdom or sagely advice you'd like to give us?
So, as a founder, what I've understood is that, especially because, we've been through tough times lately, is that no matter where you get to in life, please be kind, be humble, hold the ground. It is really, really important because you might have a ton of money in your account today, company account. But important to say that, you might have a ton of money today, but you might also lose all that money tomorrow, So name, fame, success, this is all transient. The only thing that stays is how good a human being you are. So be kind, be empathetic, be humble towards your employees, towards other entrepreneurs, and think about making an impact, because I would definitely love to say this one thing. A number of entrepreneurs that I've seen, they just start companies just to make money. Guys, first of all, building a startup in order to be rich is like getting into a marriage for the sex. Similarly, you don't need to start a company to get rich. Come on. Create an impact. Think of the larger picture. You will eventually get rich. You're smart and hence you're taking the risk. So, look at the larger picture. Look at creating a difference, and then you'll see how people chase you down and make you rich, So it's an eventual journey. So hold the ground. Come on, think of creating a difference. Yeah.
Shaman, it's been fascinating. Thank you very much for taking your time to be on the show.
Thank you.
I'm Brian Fernandez, and we've been speaking to Shaman Alid, founder and CEO of Instoried, on BizTech's Asia's Hottest Startup Show. This video and podcast will be on our website, www.biztech.asia, as well as our social media platforms. Please like and subscribe to our various platforms. Thanks again for tuning in.